Welcome to the show, guys. We are doing a fantasy football mock draft from the 6th position here today. Gonna walk you through the first 4 rounds, 1-point PPR, 12% in fine detail. Now, I just did another one, the first mock draft about a week or so ago. I'm going to continue to pound out the mock drafts because ADPs change. People want me to draft from different positions. Joe, what's it like drafting from the 12th position? What's it like drafting from the 1st position? What's it like drafting from the 6th position? So I'm going to be, ripping through this, guys. Maybe do some double quarterback type setups here for mock drafts. So I want you guys to be fully prepared, especially to start it off, because the first 4 rounds are a good foundation. It's going to give you a solid base to build off of. And a lot of people make a mistake and they go robust wide receiver, which again is the biggest mistake you can make in fantasy football. You need to load up on the most scarce position, which is the running back position. So we're talking fantasy football draft strategy here, guys. And what really, really gets me here is, again, I don't watch a lot of other podcasts, but I tune into a couple other mock drafts, is that the advice that they're giving. Now, they're showing you the full mock draft, which is just as useless as their first 4 rounds that they do. I don't like the advice that's being given because everybody, 99% of the people that I listen to, draft predicated on ADP. They're just drafting the next guy in line because he's there on ADP, and they're just like, I'm going to take this guy because, he's next in line and he had a good year last year. It's not how you draft. Guys like Devontae Adams, I'm completely fading. Okay, and I'm going to go into reasons why I'm fading them, but if I went into reasons exactly why I'm fading certain players and why I'm drafting particular players, it's like I'd be here for 5 hours. And I just did another mock draft. In the first mock draft, someone's like, Joe, you're so picky. Why? Because I only like the optimal players to draft at each position based on talent, youth, opportunity, and all the elements, including injury history, that type of thing. Now you're going to say, well, Joe, you're crazy. You like Saquon Barkley round 2. Yes, but everything else outweighs that injury that he's had in the past, right? The injuries in the past. There's way more outweighing. The bad outweighs the good. Or the good outweighs the bad, I should say, in Saquon's Barkley situation, hopefully. So let's dive into this, guys. Now, if you want the full mock draft, all the details, all the optimal players to draft in each round, sleepers, breakouts, not only mock draft, but notes, printable cheat sheet, which I'm going to be adding to 16 rounds. It's there right now. It's ready to go. Right now, head on over to thefantasyfootballcouncil.com, get the 16-round draft solution. It is the game changer. It's going to help you guys crush your leagues, and you can avoid the consensus that contributes rankings, okay? Now, we're going to be drafting today from the 6th position. Oh, by the way, use code TUBE20 for 16 rounds. Save yourself 20%. Just Google 16-round draft solution, TUBE20 when you sign up. Save yourself 20%. Forgot to do that as well for you. All right, so let's talk about this. Now, we're drafting from the 6th position, so I'm going to lay this out for you. And what I've noticed, now this is based on, it's a computerized generated mock draft predicated on average draft positions. Now, what I've noticed here, and again, I'm doing like real mock drafts with like fans, but the problem is after about 7th or 8th round, not a problem for us 16 rounders and people listening to this channel. But what's happening is people leave after this, 10th round, they start drafting kickers and defenses, not knowing the amount of, the vast amount of depth at wide receiver, running back. There's a lot of sleepers. Tyler Algier, you can get later. Alec Pierce, you can get later. Christian Watson, to name a few rookie sleepers there for you. So much value, guys, at quarterback, wide receiver. It's phenomenal. And they give up. So we're just going to do a simulation here, first 4 rounds. And it's predicated 12 person 1-point PPR predicated on ADP. And again, what I've been noticing, going back to what I was saying, is that running backs are coming off first round. They're coming off very early here in the first round. As you can see through this simulation, 5 running backs off the board. Now, this is a no-brainer for me. I'm going for youth. I'm going for volume. I'm going for opportunity. I'm going with Najee Harris here at 6. But as you notice here, Christian McCaffrey here coming off an injury. Guys, played 10 games. Let me repeat this to you. 10 games in the past 2 seasons. And he's number 2 as a running back in the rankings. It's absolutely ludicrous. When I can get Saquon Barkley with an improved O-line contract year, better physically talented, and who played the last year, just coming off that injury and was preserved, predicated on, guys, he was predicated on, preserving him for this year because they knew they weren't going to make the playoffs. So Christian McCaffrey's an overreach here, man. I'm not sold. Now, he could come back to form, and I get the talent, and I get that he's a workhorse running back. They've got Chuba Hubbard there that could start eating into the volume a little bit. Just for sheer preservation as well for Christian McCaffrey, I'm not sold on him at all. Now, Jonathan Taylor coming here. Now, he came off second here if you guys are listening in the car. Second guy here is Jonathan Taylor. First guy coming off the board, but second guy here I'm talking about is Jonathan Taylor. First overall pick, pretty much across the standard boards. Now, I like Jonathan Taylor. Don't get me wrong, but they brought in Philip Lindsay. Philip Lindsay's a bit of a pest. I know he's there for depth, and I get it, but I still think he's going to be a bit of a thorn. Again, for the sheer preservation, similar to Christian McCaffrey, Chuba Hubbard, is that they want to preserve him, right? Even Melvin Gordon, Javonte Williams. It's adding depth, but they're going to be pests. I don't think they're great players like Philip Lindsay's and the Melvin Gordons. I think they kind of suck, but they're good enough to be those thorns in the sides of these respective players. So Jonathan Taylor, he's coming off first here. Again, look for a natural regression, pinnacle year. Like, there's no way he's going to duplicate those type of numbers. 332 attempts, guys. 18 touchdowns? It's ludicrous to think that he's going to finish on top again. So you got to accommodate that someone else is going to finish ahead of him. Now, I know I haven't even made my first pick here yet, and we're 5 minutes into this thing. But the point I'm trying to make is you got to analyze. You got to know, just because they're recommending them, you got to know the scenario around that player. So this is a deep dive, guys. I'm not here messing around just picking a guy because that's what the ADP told me, okay? Now, the next guy here, so it went Jonathan Taylor, Christian McCaffrey, Derrick Henry. I think Derrick Henry's got the highest ceiling here, coming off a bounce-back year, putting up top 10 numbers, guys, last year in almost all categories, including attempts and touchdowns, and he only played 8 games, so the volume's going to be there. He's going to be a monster this year. He's out to leave a legacy. So getting him at third is a steal because I think he's first overall, but that's just me. Dalvin Cook coming here at number 4. Austin Eckler, I'm fading both these guys for obvious reasons that Dalvin Cook doesn't finish seasons, period. He just doesn't, okay? And again, I could dive into this stuff for you. I explain all the Alto Players Draft, 16-round draft solution. I explain that, and I omit these terrible players because Dalvin Cook is guaranteed to miss a game or 2 or 3. It's a matter of which game he's going to miss. He's done it in every season he started. 4 or 5 years he's been playing, missed every single game, 4 years, whatever, right? Austin Eckler had a pinnacle year last year, 12 touchdowns on the ground, 8 touchdowns in the air. It's not going to happen again. They brought in Isaiah Spiller. He's going to be a workhorse guy that's going to get some of that volume away from Eckler. They're going to preserve Eckler as well. So he's going to be involved in the passing game, but not so much, guys, in the rushing game. And again, the guy doesn't even rush for over 1,000 yards. He's not a running back. He's a receiving running back. And again, I still think he'll be used quite a bit, but I think Spiller will be a thorn, and there's going to be a decline. Because if you look at Eckler's numbers, go back and take a look at Eckler's numbers. He had 9 touchdowns combined his entire career on the ground, and then he had 12 touchdowns last season. He's coming down. He's coming down hard this year. So I'm staying away from him. So who are you drafting? I'm going to go with Najee Harris here, coming at number 6. Now, why did I go Najee Harris here at number 6, guys? It's very easy for me, and as you can see, it's populating the rest of the picks going into mid-second round. I went with Najee Harris just predicated on the fact that he's young, he's talented, he's a PPR monster. Now, I am factoring in a natural regression here, guys, in his receptions with Big Ben being out. We don't know who's starting. Is it going to be Kenny? Is it going to be Trubisky? Either way, I think he takes a bit of a hit. I think there's more upside there if Kenny Pickett starts there for him. But at the end of the day, Najee Harris is going to be on the field 90+% of the snaps. He's going to get the volume. He's got the youth. He's got the talent. And he's a workhorse running back. So I went with him. Now let's round out the end of the first round. Cooper Kupp, again, decline 100% happening. Coming off a pinnacle, phenomenal year. 191 targets, 145 receptions. I'm avoiding him. I'm running the exact opposite direction. Everybody on the mainstream is telling you, first overall, Cooper Kupp, draft him. I'm running in the exact other opposite way and completely fading Cooper Kupp, okay? Pinnacle year, he's going to decline. That's all you need to know. Very simple. They got Allen Robinson there. Super Bowl hangover. I'm staying away. Next guy here is Joe Mixon. I mean, I can't presume that he's going to get injured, and I can't presume he's going to decline significantly. He had a good year last year on a good offense. Barring any type of injury, Joe Mixon's going to be a solid producer, okay? Do I really trust him fully? Not so much, but near late first round, he's definitely a consideration as a workhorse running back with no committee. I got to give him that. Now, again, out of all the years he played, last year was one of the best ones. Is he going to duplicate that, or was it an anomaly? That's something you got to ask. And that's where I make you guys think. I don't just say, this is where this guy is going, just draft him. No, you got to think about the entire scenario, okay? Alvin Kamara here coming off late first round. And I get it, but the talent is there, an opportunity, but possible suspension looming. Just keep that in your mind. Justin Jefferson, I think Thielen's going to be more of a factor this year. Got hurt near the end of the season. If you look at the target count between Jefferson and Thielen the first 9 weeks, Thielen was pretty much the wide receiver one there on that offense. Okay, touchdowns were on par at the end of the season. I think they both had 10. And Thielen is a guy that was hurt. He didn't play as much games as Jefferson. Now Jefferson yardage and PPR and and that type of thing exciting, but give me Thielen later for value instead of Jefferson in the first round where I get a running back, okay? Aaron Jones next here in line, and then Stephon Diggs to round out round 1. Now, Aaron Jones, again, I think he might be used more in the passing game with the absence of Adams being gone. I like Christian Watson as a sleeper stepping up this year. I like Robert Tonyan taking a step up. But Aaron Jones did see a decline last year in attempts where A.J. Dillon was used a lot more. Go look at the attempts. A.J. Dillon had more volume. That's a bit of a concern. Enough to turn me off of Aaron Jones in the first round and second, and I'm fading him. Stephon Diggs, as solid as they come as a wide receiver. If you do want a wide receiver, definitely recommend him or Chase near the end of the first round if you have to go wide receiver, okay? And then as we're going into the second round here, you'll see Jamar Chase coming off the board. I think his ceiling is higher than both Cooper Kupp and Diggs this year. Had 128 targets last year and didn't really hit his peak. Youth opportunity and phenomenal ability. Jamar Chase, I do like him this year as the number 1 wide receiver, although I'm possibly fading him because I'm going robust RB, right? All right, let's keep going here. Devontae Adams, second pick here in the second round. We're rolling around, guys, into the second round in the snake draft. Again, Jamar Chase comes off first, then Devontae Adams. Let's talk about Adams real quick. New offense, new team. I'm going to keep going back to the facts and the points here. Derek Carr is a significant downgrade, and he's got, who does he have? He has Hunter Renfrow and Waller there. Guys, Renfrow was the number 1 receiver there last year with 128 targets, peaking at 128 targets. Waller was the number 1 wide receiver in 2020, right? The tight end, 145 targets, peaked. Okay, guys? So if they're top receivers, whether it be Waller, even though he's a tight end in 2020, peaked at 145, and Renfrow peaked at 128, how is Devontae Adams copied and pasted last year? How Adams thrived last year, guys, was very simple. He thrived predicated on 169 targets. He's not going to get that. We saw this, guys. Carr's top receiver had 128 targets last year. And here's the funny thing, guys. Renfro's still there. So let that process for a second, okay? Renfro's going to be his outlet. Adams is going to be seeing a lot of double coverage. Waller's going to be there, a safe, reliable safety net target for Derek Carr. How's Adams going to get 169 targets and duplicate last year's fantasy football production? He's just not. And I don't care what anybody says. Mathematically, it doesn't add up. Now, the only way this is viable is that if Derek Carr starts airing the ball out as much as Matt Ryan and starts specifically targeting Adams for almost every pass and gets him back up to 169 targets the same way Aaron Rodgers did, which I do not see happening. He's got to completely ignore Waller. I just don't see it. And Waller peaked at 145 targets. Not going to happen, okay? I don't see it, okay? And Deebo Samuel, again, he's coming off here, third pick, second round, even coming off in the first. Contract deals, guys. Inflated numbers based on 8 rushing touchdowns last year. I don't even want to get started with Deebo Samuel. This guy was drafted behind Ayuk last year, and I was telling you, draft Deebo for value. People are like, no, Ayuk's the one. Joe, you're crazy. Look where Deebo is now, okay? Tyreek Hill, again, new offense, suspect offense. Waddle's there, number 1 wide receiver. Who's the one there? Do we trust Tua? Again, Tyreek Hill, Deebo Samuel, Adams, all being drafted based on last year's production without the thought process of the new scenarios, new teams, new offenses, different scenarios, different situations, contract issues. There's no thought process in that. So it's imperative that you guys take everything under consideration, all right? Leonard Fournette could be solid. I think that offense does well. I think, Brady's going to get another ring before he retires, right? Whether you want to call it the fix is in, it's up to you guys. I did a video on Is the NFL Fixed? Go check that video. Just Google Is the NFL Fixed? My video is number 1 coming up. And, I think Leonard Fournette just is a product of that great offense. I think he's going to get the volume, barring an injury. He'll be a safe and solid RB2, in my opinion. James Conner, again, years to wow me. We're not wowed. Had a great year last year, very touchdown heavy. Is that going to continue? He's had his share of injuries to the past. Again, copied and pasted. I'm probably staying away. Well, Joe, who do you draft here in round 2, number 6? We've come back around. Well, here's the options, guys. So if we're looking at the best player available, let's go at each position. Quarterback, we're going to fade unless it's a 2-quarterback league. I still want to get an ace quarterback, so I probably look at one in round 2 and 3, but there's a ton of depth guys at quarterback. So that's not what we're looking at here in round 2. Are we looking at running back? 100% we're going to definitely consider running back. Now, DeAndre Swift, not a big volume guy on the Lions. Very, very hard to trust. I'm going to go ahead and fade DeAndre Swift completely here. Don't trust him. Javonte Williams, he's actually fallen here to mid-second round. This is pretty phenomenal. Now, I love Javonte Williams, love the talent. You got to draft him with the caution that he might end up being the exact same person he was last year, a 203 attempt, 4 touchdown kind of guy with Melvin Gordon there. Now, there is the slight inclination that he is going to be the guy, and Melvin Gordon is there for depth. But I just don't see Melvin Gordon sitting back and taking it. Now, again, Melvin Gordon does suck. He's only had 1,000 yard rushing season. He's not a good running back. But he's good enough to be a pest. Does that make sense? He's not a phenomenal back. He's annoying. He can never start. He's never going to be that amazing legacy Hall of Fame Derrick Henry, Adrian Peterson type running back at all. Right now you're saying, well, those are big shoes to fill, Joe. Doesn't matter. I don't think he's even going to come close to that. But what I'm saying here is, if you want Javonte Williams, he's going to come at a high risk, right? He's going to come at the risk of Melvin Gordon being annoying. You're in week 5. You need that extra touchdown. You've started Javonte Williams as your RB1, RB2. You've got him plugged in, and in comes Melvin Gordon, hoards away 2 touchdowns in the fourth quarter that could have gone to you. So if you're ready to accept that, if that is what you want, then you draft Javonte Williams. If you don't want to pass, but possibly have more of a high risk of injury, you're going Saquon Barkley here. And I'm a big risk taker. I'm a big gambler because I make up for depth in later rounds. I'm going Saquon Barkley here. Another option could have been a tight end here. You could have easily gone Mark Andrews, George Kittle. Those are the only 2 real tight ends that have that massive upside. Now, there's other sleeper tight ends that could have great years. TJ Hawkins, not so much a sleeper, but guys that have that high ceiling. Pat Freiermuth, a little bit of a sleeper there. There is other guys that could be solid, but Kelsey and Mark Andrews are solid right here. Kittle way too higher in the third round. I see him coming off in the third. All right, so I went Saquon Barkley, continuing with the robust RB strategy. Then Kelsey came off the board, CeeDee Lamb, who I think should have a good ceiling this year, now with Amari Cooper being gone. DeAndre Swift, A.J. Brown, not investing a second-round pick on him with a suspect quarterback with Hurts. Hurts does not throw a lot. We didn't see that last year. Now, he could turn over a new leaf and start throwing, but Devontae Smith is still there. 2 wide receiver ones. A.J. Brown always gets hurt, hasn't proven he's a wide receiver 1, and completely busted on his ADP last year. He was top 10. I said, avoid A.J. Brown top 10, and look where he finished, guys. He finished 32nd last year amongst wide receivers in PPR. A.J. Brown's a massive bust. New team, new offense. Is the volume going to be there? Not enough for me to get excited about A.J. Brown in the second round. Again, fading the wide receiver. Now, the only safe wide receivers I've seen in the first 2 rounds that have that kind of ceiling right now are Stephon Diggs and Jamar Chase. The other guys, I'm not trusting or not paying too high for. I also like Keenan Allen because I am a believer of Justin Herbert. Okay, so Keenan Allen coming off here to round out this round 2. If you do need a wide receiver, could be solid. Now, to start round 3, again, I like Kittle. And you know what? To be honest with you, with the issues with Deebo Samuel, and I don't know if they got the true wide receiver 1 thing figured out, but Kittle could be an awesome target for if Trey Lance starts. And I do definitely see a ceiling and some, value with Kittle. But again, am I investing a 3rd-round pick on Kittle? Probably not, but I think he's set up for a good year. Mark Andrews, again, set up for a prime year because, again, Baltimore doesn't have any wide receivers, so I do like him here in the 3rd round. I see Javonte Williams here falling in the 3rd round. Pretty good value there. Josh Allen, a little early for quarterbacks. I liked Allen when people thought Mayfield was better than Allen. I remember that. There was a time where I said Allen is better than Mayfield. People thought I was crazy. This was a couple years ago. And I was getting Allen round 10 and beyond. Great. Now I'm not paying top dollar for Josh Allen. I'm looking for the next best thing, and I always nail that. Nick Chubb, again, coming off here very early for me. Busted last year based on his ADP. I'm fading him. Now we're back on us. So let's take a look at the best possible players. If you went 6 overall, right, in a 12-person 1-point PPR league, you've gone robust RB with the first 2 picks. Let's see what's going on. I'm going to take a look and see if there's another running back here. And man, this is awesome. There is some value here at running back, and I will probably secure and pull the trigger on another running back. David Montgomery. I heard he put on 10 pounds of muscle. Nagy's gone. He's going to get the volume. No committee. Love him. Cam Akers is total boomer bust. Not much of a committee. Finally due for that breakout year. This is it. He's going to probably get the volume. Antonio Gibson, I don't trust. Zeke Elliott's going to be safe and solid. He's been on a natural decline over the past couple of years. Consistently declining in the attempts department, losing that to Tony Pollard. As Pollard's attempts and volume goes up, Zeke has gone down. Could that be a reversal this year? I wouldn't mind paying a 3rd-round pick to find out and see if there's an increase here in Zeke Elliott. Absolutely love him. Breece Hall is a huge risk, and I'll tell you why. I love Breece Hall here, but I see him available here based on ADP, but there's still, 6 running backs ahead of him, including Dobbins, which I don't trust because, I just don't see the volume there. And they brought in Davis, disaster, and Lamar's a running back on his own. Gibson, who I don't trust here. And Jacobs, he's due for a bit of bounce back, but again, he's just not that explosive. Breece Hall is amazing talent, right? Problem is, I think the volume is going to be there. Michael Carter is going to be breathing down his neck, and then you've also got the fact that, the volume isn't going to be there. We're looking at, Carter had 147 attempts last year. Is that going to go up for Breece Hall? Is Carter going to be sideline? That is something you got to consider if you want Breece Hall, but not such a bad high upside RB3 here, but I'm just going to go with the safer option here, either Montgomery or Zeke Elliott. And I almost feel safer with Zeke to secure that top 10 running back, and I think he finishes there, but a little more ceiling with David Montgomery. I'm going to roll the dice on upside here with David Montgomery, but before I do, I want to take a look at the wide receivers available here, okay? Mike Evans, always solid, but again, Brady spreads the ball around. Deontay Johnson, look for him to get a decline in attempts, passing attempts. T. Higgins, why? And here's the thing. I talked about this in my last mock draft. I'm going to talk about it again. And if you guys are new to the channel, this is new to you. If you aren't new to the channel, I'm going to talk about this. T. Higgins and Jalen Waddle, okay, are wide receiver twos. So why would you get a wide receiver 2 in the third round when there's so many other wide receiver 1s? I'd rather have Amari Cooper. I'd rather have Jerry Jeudy or Sutton, a chance that they could be the wide receiver 1. I'd rather have Darnell Mooney, right? I'd rather have Amon-Ra St. Brown. And I'd rather have Adam Thielen as a wide receiver 2. I'd rather have Gabriel Davis as a wide receiver 2. I'd rather have Christian Kirk here in round 3 over paying for a wide receiver 2 in Higgins and Waddle. So why are guys that are wide receiver 1s like Amon-Ra St. Brown, Darnell Mooney, Cortland Sutton, right? I think he's going to have a good year. Amari Cooper ranked behind wide receiver 2s. There's no logic. There's no common sense here. Based on volume and opportunity and talent and ceiling, these guys are wide receiver 1s. If I show more, there's probably other wide receiver 1s here, right? Treylon Burks could slide into a wide receiver 1 position, right? Alan Lazard could be a wide receiver 1, although I do like Christian Watson a little bit better based on ceiling. Chris Olave, right? If Michael Thomas, right? There's so many guys here, including Drake London, who's a plug-and-play wide receiver 1 because they have no other targets there. It's a no-brainer. I just gave you guys a bunch of sleepers, by the way. Take notes. Higgins and Waddle, unless Hill gets hurt and Chase gets hurt, these guys are clear-cut by a mile, by 1,000 miles, wide receiver 2s. Yet they're ranked ahead of other guys. Like DJ Moore, what has he done? Who the hell is he? He's a nobody. And yet he's ranked here against the other guys that have way more higher ceiling than him. It's absolutely ludicrous. And this goes back to a couple years ago when Chris Godwin in 2019 had that good year. Do you guys remember? Chris Godwin had this phenomenal year, and the mainstream were confused. Do we put Mike Evans and Godwin in the top 10? I'm like, there's no way both these guys are going to finish top 10. And sure enough, they both fell out of the top 10. I avoided both of them. Godwin was coming off round 3. This is a couple years ago. Godwin was coming off round 2, and Evans was coming off round 3. And they both busted. I think Evans ended up finishing 11th amongst wide receivers, and Godwin was way out there, basically busted. So again, they're doing the same type of thing with Higgins and Chase and Waddle and Tyreek Hill. And I don't even think Tyreek Hill can finish top 10. I don't even know if the volume's there for him, let alone putting Waddle there pretty much in the top 14 with him. It's ludicrous, absolutely ludicrous. I'm going to go robust RB here. I think that's the best value. I'm going David Montgomery. And as I showed you guys, there's a ton of depth at wide receiver. You can wait. So let's round up the third round here. George Kittle, Mark Andrews, Javonte Williams, Josh Allen, Nick Chubb, David Montgomery, Mike Evans, T. Higgins, Cam Akers, Deontay Johnson, Zeke Elliott, and Antonio Gibson. Zeke Elliott, great value, round 3. Coming off round 4, and as you can see, this is how your league mates are most likely going to draft unless they got the 16-round draft solution. Jalen Waddle coming off here in the 4th round early. Didn't even listen to what I said. Obviously, the computer's not listening here. It's ludicrous, okay? Michael Pittman, I like him. Could be a wide receiver 1, although I do like Alec Pierce later on. Justin Herbert, 4th round. Again, I like Justin Herbert, 5th, 6th round last year. Better value. Everyone's not riding his D right now. Kyle Pitts could have a bounce-back year. 4th round's not bad based on volume. I think the quarterback situation suspect there. I don't know if I trust the quarterbacks, but there is some ceiling there. Amari Cooper, 4th round. I like him. I think he's a good steal. So, Joe, we need a wide receiver to start getting that wide receiver thing going here. Now, a couple options here. Now, let me just take a quick glance at tight end. There's Darren Waller. Again, I like to wait on tight end. Still tons of depth at tight end to get a sleeper later. I take a quick glance at quarterback. Pat Mahomes could be good value here, but I can still wait. I can still might get myself a Russell Wilson, Matt Stafford, Aaron Rodgers. There's so much value here at quarterback. I can wait another round. I want to secure my ace wide receiver, but I'm going to take a quick glance here at running back as well. I could literally go Breece Hall here and be totally locked and loaded at running back, workhorses all the way through and true. And I may want to do that here, and I think I will, because I still know I'm confident in my ability to get a wide receiver later. So, people, Joe, how could you go 4 running backs? Because I know there's a ton of wide receivers here, and I'll be good. I'll still be getting wide receiver ones. Last year, people thought I was crazy. Amon-Ra St. Brown, how could you? Jamar Chase, how could you? How could you do that? Cooper Kupp, 4th round, Joe. How could you get him over Robert Woods? Robert Woods is the one. Deebo Samuel, round 5, Joe. How could you do that? How could you get Deebo Samuel? Ayuk's the number 1. You're crazy. Deebo Samuel sucks. Deebo Samuel was on my podcast. Google Deebo Samuel, fantasy football counselor, and listen to the show where I was telling him he's the wide receiver 1. So it's about seeing and skating to where the puck is going and not doing what everyone else does. Now, if it was another podcast, I'd say, I'm just going to grab DJ Moore here. He's the next available. I'm just going to grab Brandon Cooks here on Houston with a suspect quarterback. Who the hell's the quarterback there? I don't know. Is it some guy named Mills? David Mills? Who is that? What has he done? Do I trust him? Absolutely not. Terry McLaurin. Do I trust Carson Wentz to breed me a Terry McLaurin top receiver and make him my wide receiver 1? Probably not. Do not trust him. Chris Godwin, a bit of a committee. Now, Jerry Jeudy and Sutton. Now we're talking. We've got Russell Wilson throwing the ball, who's made Lockett and Metcalf viable wide receiver options. I'm interested. I'm piqued. I'm like, hey, man, these guys could be wide receiver 1. Jeudy might be facing a suspension, had some off-field issues, went to jail. But Sutton could be a stud. So, hey, why not go Sutton here? Potentially getting a wide receiver 1. But I'm good. I don't care, because I'm going to come back and I'm going to get other wide receivers. And, man, Darnell Mooney's sitting right there, so I'm going to load him up. Or even get Jerry Jeudy. Now I've got the guaranteed wide receiver 1 to Russell Wilson, one of arguably the best quarterbacks in the NFL. He's going to have a resurgence here with Denver. So, guys, wide receivers. I can go Adam Thielen here and potentially get the wide receiver 1 in Minnesota for free. I can wait a round or 2, right? So much depth, it's ridiculous, okay? I'm not even going to get into it. So I might even look at running back here and Breece Hall. No, Breece Hall is taken, right? I could go Jacobs. Point I'm trying to make is I probably would have went Breece Hall there, came back, and Sutton would have probably even fallen, or could have got Jeudy or something like that. Bottom line here, guys, 6th position is really good. So let's round out the 4th round. Waddle, Pittman, Herbert, Metcalf, Pitts, Cooper, Sutton, DJ Moore, Amon-Ra, Hopkins, who's going to be facing a suspension. I like him, but not for the first 5 or 6 weeks. Breece Hall and Chris Godwin to round out round 4, sorry. But that was from the 6th position. So there you have it, guys. Hopefully this helps you guys, makes you guys think, because I want you guys to think outside the box, right? I want you to look at every player. You don't even need to look at every player. Just get 16-round draft solution. I look at every player and give you the optimal players to draft in each round. All right, guys? Subscribe, thumbs up. I appreciate you guys being here. It means a lot. And, of course, guys, let me know below who are you drafting at number 6. I appreciate you guys. Fantasy's almost here. Get that 16-round draft solution. I'll see you guys in there. Thanks for being here. Hope you guys enjoyed this Fantasy Football Mock Draft 2022. I'm out.